Am I the a-hole for telling my parents that being better parents to their younger children does not make up anything to me? My parents had me when they were still pretty young, both 21. They weren't really secure and didn't have a maternal or paternal instinct back then. Because of this, my dad's parents stepped up and they would take care of me when my parents were busy with school or work or anything really. I was basically raised by my grandparents for 13 years, and when I was 13 it only stopped because my life got busier at the encouragement of my grandparents. I was in extracurriculars, paid for by my grandparents, and spending more time with friends and exploring the world. My grandparents taught me a lot of skills from cooking and cleaning to how to take care of myself. They did it because they were aware I might not get taken care of if something happened to them and I was left with just my parents. For years my parents resented me. I know it, they know it, and my grandparents know it. They showed it in smaller ways. Complaining when I asked for their signature, or when my grandparents told them they needed to show up at parent conferences at my school. They would grumble about me being sick and asked my grandparents to deal with it. Sometimes they would take me to an amusement park and get annoyed when they couldn't go on all the rides together because that meant leaving me alone. Sometimes my grandparents had plans and couldn't let me stay with them for a night and my parents wanted to go out. Then they had more kids who are 3 and 1 now, and they are way better parents to them. I'm not saying they're perfect because nobody is. But they are being parents to them. They deal with every tantrum without acting like they hate the baby. They play with them, read bedtime stories, sing with them, fight over who stays home with a sick kid because both want to be there. They know their 3-year-old's favorite foods and music. They want these kids. It only came to my attention recently, because my parents suddenly decided the 3 of us needed therapy, that they felt them being better parents to their younger children meant I would forgive them and it would make it up to me for not being there for me. Even though they still aren't. They talked about me being distant and not spending time with the family and how they don't know me. I told them of course they don't because they were never around me, and when they were, they wished I wasn't there. I told them they can't honestly expect that being better parents to their other kids would make it up to me. They mentioned something about siblings and how I speak like they're not, and I said because my parents are dad's parents, not them, and the kids I live with have different parents to me in a very different life. I also reiterated that being better to them is good because no kid should go through what I did, but it doesn't make anything up to me. They told me it was spiteful to not take joy in my siblings having better, and they accused me of being stubborn and unforgiving. Am I the a-hole?
Not the a-hole. Your egg and sperm donors didn't want you as their child and pawned you off onto grandparents, who thankfully stepped up to the plate. They told me it was spiteful to not take joy in my siblings having better, and they accused me of being stubborn and unforgiving. How is it spiteful to not take joy in watching your younger sibs actually have their parents engage with them instead of throwing them away?
My theory is my parents assumed that I would automatically have this really deep love for my siblings and would see them as that, siblings, and that it would bridge the gap between us without them making any effort toward me. I think they set up this idea, and when I didn't feel that way, they were like, OMG, how did this happen? He should be happy.
So they've accused you of being stubborn and unforgiving. Have they also asked for your forgiveness? Acknowledged how they failed you? Even if they had asked, that wouldn't make them entitled to your forgiveness, but it would be a first baby step.
They haven't directly addressed that they failed, but they sort of acknowledged it by saying they felt being good parents to their younger kids would make things up to me. They have not asked me for forgiveness.
Their lack of logic is pretty baffling. Have an internet mom hug.
Not the a-hole. The point of therapy is to be honest. You gave your parents an honest assessment of your childhood, their parenting, and how it impacted you and how you feel about it now. You told them some hard truths. They didn't like hearing it. You were not spiteful, stubborn, or unforgiving in anything you said. Your parents and younger siblings are part of your extended family, but your core family consists of you and your paternal grandparents.
Not the a-hole at all. If your parents want a relationship with you, they need to earn one with you. Not assume that by giving your siblings everything you never had would somehow make your relationship better. Your parents are the selfish a-holes, and it's nothing to do with age. There are many young parents who do a great job of raising and loving their kids. Go to the therapy, not for them, but for you. Work through your feelings of abandonment and resentment and let them know exactly why their behavior the last 17 years wasn't acceptable. Edit, are they assuming you will be a free babysitter to your siblings? Because you should make clear that that ain't happening.
I don't think I could work on any of that with them directly involved in the sessions. And all they have on the table is family therapy. Having them there makes it more difficult. I would need a therapist of my own, which is not going to happen while I still live with them.
Not the a-hole. Your parents are seeking absolution. They know they were horrible parents. And they know it even more every time they do something for their other children because it reinforces everything they didn't do for you. They're attempting to put pressure on you to forgive them and admit that they're better parents now and it's all okay now. They feel guilty and don't know how to make it up or make proper amends for their actions, so they're trying to speedrun the process by pressuring you.
Am I the a-hole for telling everyone in the home that I will plate food from now on and clear labeling for leftovers? I have 3 people in the home right now. My daughter that is going to college and my son and his wife that are staying to save money. The issue is with my son and his wife. They eat so much, and frankly it is a concerning amount. What I usually do before they moved in was make a meal, everyone eats and then pack up leftovers in the fridge. The food is gone by the time I even try to get seconds. Sometimes I make food and my daughter ain't home and it's all gone. I make big meals that can easily feed 4 to 6 people with leftovers sometimes. For example, I made a pound of spaghetti with meat sauce. I didn't even get any, I didn't grab any and was going to eat after I finished some chores. My daughter wasn't home and those 2 ate a whole pound of spaghetti. I had a 2-layer cake, almost all was there and went to work. The cake was almost gone when I got home. That was less than 8 hours. My daughter is very frustrated since there is never any cooked food in the home. I have made double batches and that gives leftovers, but they don't last. The next day the leftovers are gone. It is hurting my wallet and I am over it. I don't want to charge for groceries since that won't solve the issue with leftovers. Or if they eat everything before anyone has the chance to eat. So I sat everyone down and told them I will be plating everyone's food. That leftovers will be split evenly and labeled clearly. If anyone is still hungry then they can buy more food to eat. I implemented it today, my daughter, and I loved it since we could eat and have leftovers. They hated it and are still hungry. This started an argument and they think I am a huge jerk.
Not the a-hole. It makes no sense to cook if those intended don't get to eat, so you plating and labeling leftovers seems reasonable to ensure all get to eat. I think it's weird AF that your son and his wife would think it's okay to eat all or most of the food when you and your daughter hadn't had a chance to eat anything. That was so inconsiderate of them.
I don't understand how they are eating so much. The cake confuses me greatly. That was a big cake and it was almost gone by 5. These 2 ate 85% of the cake. It's ridiculous.
Not the a-hole. If your son and his wife are disrespecting you and your daughter in your own home with their selfish behavior, so you had no choice but to do something. Do they pay anything towards their upkeep? I don't understand why you aren't insisting on them contributing to the groceries, especially if they eat so much. But again, it's your home, your choice.
Because if I do, I have a feeling they will pull I am also paying for this food so I can eat as much as I want. It won't solve the issue. Instead, everyone gets a fixed amount and if they are hungry they can get their own stuff.
They can eat the food they pay for and prepare it themselves. Just tell them you can't afford to help subsidize their food budget anymore, and they need to provide all of their own food themselves going forward. Over time, they'll either cut back on spending and eating, or eat until they're broke and be forced to change.
They think I am a huge jerk. I think it's time for son and wife to spread their wings and leave the nest. Learn about self-reliance and how much their lack of self-control costs. Not the a-hole at all. Keep doing what you're doing. Die on this hill. They hated it and are still hungry. But, what about all of the money they're saving? They should be able to supplement their appetites themselves. Sarcasm.
Either die on this hill or diet on this hill, your choice.
What do you think of these stories? Leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more interesting stories.